Do subscribers gained impact the performance of a video? To assess this last week, I said, smash that subscribe button, punch it. I did all the douchey things that I do, and I don't think it does. I don't think it has any impact. You did deliver. You got this to be the second highest subscriber gained video over the last 28 days. But still, the video last week ranked number 4 out of 10. The views were 1,400, which is on par. The click-through rate, 4%, which is on par. Average view duration, 13 minutes, which is on par. Last week's episode was on par. Can I drive it home anymore? Par for the course. How many subs did we gain? Looking at the videos over the last 28 days, the best performing was 350. That had 29 subscribers gained on that video. Last week's episode had 19 subs gained, and that made up 20% of the subscribers I gained over the last 28 days. When I think of it that way, that's really not great. 20% of the subs were gained on a single video, and it was only 19. I'm happy with the subs that I have, but when you start analyzing stuff this granularly, it kind of develops a complex. You kind of develop a complex. Oh, that's not good enough. Good thing I don't care. How did this impact impressions? I'm going to show you 2 graphs. By the way, if you are just listening, I highly recommend going to bandrewsays.com or youtube.com/@BSP to watch the video because the graphs are really helpful. The first graph for impressions I'm showing is the impressions of last week's episode against an average episode, and the impressions are pretty much identical. 18,000 about. That seems to be the average that we're seeing on a regular episode. The second one is against episode 350, which is the only outlier over the last 6 or 7 episodes. And it's obvious that episode 350 had the algorithm saying, hey, people like this, let's push it to a wider audience. So you could see that bump right around 1 day and a few hours. Now I just want to scroll through a bunch of views over the last couple of episodes so you can see how consistent the views are. So the blue graph or the blue line is going to be last week's episode. The pink graph will be prior episodes. And each of these, it's pretty much identical. The trajectory seems consistent. Again, the only outlier is episode 350. Got a much wider push. I still can't determine what the cause of that was. So, yeah, I don't see any difference in performance of the episode based on the subscriptions gained. Perhaps we didn't meet a threshold, just like we didn't meet a threshold with the click-through rate. But I don't know if there's anything we're actually garnering from this. I don't think there is anything that we have found yet that has any direct measurable impact upon the distribution of a video. I did have a few people point something out to me. They said, hey, why didn't you ask everybody to unsubscribe before you ask people to subscribe? That would make a lot more sense. To be honest, I had not considered that. Secondly, after considering it, that terrifies me. I don't like that idea because I have worked very hard to gain every subscriber. At least I feel as though I have. I feel like I have. And the idea of asking people to unsubscribe terrifies me. Because what if they don't get a recommendation for next week's episode and they forget to resubscribe? What if YouTube actually thinks that's an indicator of the video being clickbait or the channel going downhill, so they stop recommending it? Because that would be a huge indicator. a huge number of unsubscriptions from a channel on one video, that seems like a big marker for something going horribly awry. I'm going to have to think about that if I want to do that, because I think that could actually seriously harm the channel. Maybe it's worth doing. Maybe next week we'll do it. I just have to give it some thought. I don't care that much, so I guess it would be fine. We're not going to run any experiments this week. We're going to give it a break. Next week, I will have another experiment that I want to run.